Hi everyone. Oh my goodness, I know it has been an extremely long time. I believe the last time I did an update video was the very end of January. I did do a mid-February video, but it was kind of like a Stitchiversary celebration video. So yeah, I've been so busy. February itself actually wasn't bad. But the very end of the month, I had not one, but two birthday parties, one being my husband's 30th, so that was a busy time. Then I also had the end of my master's class for spring semester, the first one, because I have two a semester. So I was wrapping that up, and then the next day, the next one started. And it's always a busy time of work this year. It's just dying down now, so not a lot of Stitchy time, not a lot of recording time. Although it's been a while, I have February to show you. That was probably my most productive month. I did get quite a bit of stitching done in March. April was kind of so-so, but other than that, I mean, I don't have a ton to show you, but that's okay. I'm getting back into the swing of things. I should have expected it to be busy, so it's my own fault. But yeah, so enough of that. That's really the reason why, but I'm excited to be back. Yeah, I'm excited. Also, change of background. I am in my downstairs just because I wanted to try it, and also I usually stitch in I do stitch up there, but I usually record in our office studio workplace. It's kind of like my craft room, my husband's piano / office room. It's where we have our bookshelves. It's kind of like our studio area. And most of the time he's in there either doing work, because he is a computer guy. He does a lot of coding and IT and all of that, so he needs to be by his computer. Or he's gaming, and sometimes they're talking on the headphones, and he's very sweet and has let me record there. And I tell him, hey, I'm gonna do a video, but it takes me a while to do a video. So yeah, I think this is gonna work. The lighting, it's a little bit bright. I'll have to play around with it a little bit, maybe change the angle around, but I think it'll do for now. Also, don't mind if I look crazy. I've been having crazy bouts of allergies, so but whatever. Anyway, so today I'm going to update you on my whips, which, like I said, isn't actually not that much, so it shouldn't take that long. I'm going to go through some purchases, which I do have some more of, and really it's mostly fabric, so I'm very excited. And I am going to do a tag. I want to do Adele's For Reals Though tag, because I've been wanting to do it since it came out. Adele, I really have. I just haven't had any time to do much of anything. I also have been reading a lot lately, and I started another hobby, which I will mention at the end of this video, because it's not thread, but string related. I don't even know how to mention it. You'll find out. And the other purchases, like I said, were fabric. So I'm excited to do that. I do have plans for Mania. I know it's May 1st, like today, so I need to get that video up, and I will be starting my first project today. But I will do that as a separate video, just because I think it'd be better. So yeah, let's get started with my update. What should we call this? I don't want to call it like February, March, April update. Let's just call it Spring Stitchy Update. Spring 2016 Stitchy Update. Okay, so one of the first projects that I worked on in February was my Gwen. And let me make sure I have that chart for you. I should have been a little bit more organized as usual, but I am not. It's not too terribly far off. It's right here. So this is by Nora Corbett. It's one of her Bewitching Pixies. And that's what she's going to look like when she is finished. A lot of you are familiar with her already. And I started her on January 1st. She was my New Year New Start / Mirabilia Sal project. And there's floss. Let me put that off to the side. Alright, so I'm going to insert a picture of where she was before. It's a little bit blurry because I had to screenshot, because I didn't get the idea to start taking pictures till like halfway through February. I'm like, I should take a picture right before I start stitching just for this, but at least you get a general idea of where she was. So here are those two pictures, because the screenshot was kind of hard to get of the whole thing, which reminds me, I'm going to try and hold stuff up a little bit longer so you can really see. So here those pictures are. Okay, so now she is here. I pretty much added all this black. I'm planning to go all the way around when I pick her up again and finish off the dress. I'm not gonna do like all the black. I'm gonna leave like the fence post. I think I added this fence post here, and obviously all this black from her dress. Last time I had just like this bit and like the vine and the first 2 posts. So yeah, there's a little bit of a close-up for you. I'm really excited to be stitching her. I don't think I've messed up. I might have just a little bit somewhere like right here. So that's also why I want to finish the outline of her dress, because it's not terrible. I can fudge it, but I need to kind of figure out where, like once I start getting into the bottom of, where did her chart go? Sorry. Once I start getting here, I need to make sure like this is as even as possible, and then there's some black wispies like within her dress, so I got to get that figured out and get that done. So I'm really excited. This is on 32 count Ash Rose Lugana. I didn't really like the chocolate brown that she was on, and I didn't feel like using linen either. That's ending soon. That's ending actually with Mania. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. Probably after Mania, I want to pick her up. I really like to get her done. She is going fairly quickly when I pick her up. I worked on her for maybe about a week or so. Actually, I totally lied. That was at the end of January. When I picked her back up, I think I did this in like a day of stitching. Like I added all the blocks, so it really works out. All right, so that was the first project in February. Then I worked on Stardust Fairy. It is a freebie collaboration between Joan Elliott and DMC, and it is fabulous. It's so wonderful. So yeah, I do have a picture of the finished product. I'm going to insert that here. And I am doing it, I started it actually on the recommended fabric, which is the 14 count Stardust Ada by Charles Crafts. And then I decided I wanted to do the skin 1/1, so I switched to a 28 count Lugana. You have seen this already, but I just wanted to mention that again. And I did take a picture of that, so I'm going to insert a picture of where I had left off here. And here is where I am now. So I added all that part of the skirt. So there you can see the background. It has like a little bit more left right here. This is where it ends, like almost right at the edge of the Q-snap. You can't really see at the moment, but let me just, I have a grid there just of the outline. I do like gridding, but it does take a really long time to grid. So if there's a project where I can easily get myself in the middle or to a corner, I will try to do that. And I kind of judge each project as it goes, and I think, do I really need stitching as like gridding? For this one, I actually tried to grid, and I don't know why it was giving me a really hard time. I think it's because it was like maybe this second time I'd gridded on 28 count. The first time I really didn't have a problem, so I don't know why it kept giving me a hard time this time, but it did. So I decided to just grid the outline, so I actually start it like right there, because it's like 4 like holes away from the edge, so it was really easy to count off. And then this, I'm stitching one color at a time because the skirt consists of like 4 main purples, so it was really easy to go that way and do that. So yeah, there is that, and that was about a week or so that I worked on in February. Kind of losing my spot now. Okay, so Heaven and Earth released a challenge. They're on their second one right now, but their first one was to do some stitching with blocks of 10 in diagonals. And I did share that with you last time. I decided to do a new start because for that particular method of stitching, I really wanted something that did not have a lot of colors. And I had something I really wanted to start, and it fit perfectly. So this is a story keep. The artwork is by Nini Thomas, whom I've loved for a really long time. I discovered her maybe when I was like 15, 14, and I've loved her artwork since then. The chart itself is retired, but yeah, don't mind that bell. That's just my dogs. I'm gonna have to take them out in a bit, so I might have to pause here. But let me finish at least this one. So that's what she looks like. Obviously the fairy's at the bottom. So that part at the top is actually a black, mainly black, then a dark brown, lighter brown, a golden brown, and then down to yellow. And then obviously most of her colors are in the fairy and some of the butterflies. So I was very lucky to be able to do most of the challenge in black. I think I had maybe 15 stitches that were in different colors. So I will show you a picture of where I left off, which was basically when I ended the challenge. And this is where I am now. So this is the first 2 rows going into the 3rd and 4th row. Yes, 1 second, Ellie. She really wants to go out. I'll finish this one and then pause and come back to you. So that's where I am now. You can see, I don't even know if you can tell because it's just the very tip of the wing. It's like right there where some of the other colors are. Like right there. Yeah, I don't know if you can just see a slight difference in color, but you're not really going to be able to tell because it's so mostly black. Also, isn't this a neat idea? I think I saw somebody possibly on Stitch Mania post this. It was on a Facebook group. You use a Q-snap as a scroll frame, so then as I need it, I can unroll here and pull up here. But anyway, let me go back because I don't need to do that. Obviously, it's not super tight, but I had this in a hoop, and the hoop I was using wasn't that great anyway, so the tension's about the same. It works all right for me. I'm happy with how it is working. Obviously, if you are not making your own Q-snap, or you're buying the pipe yourself, then it might be a little bit harder to do this type of project because you're limited to putting together what's already out there. So this is 8x8 sides and then 2 8x8s connected, making this 16 inches. So I had to buy an extension kit. This is the off-brand Q-snap. This isn't the actual Q-snap. So they sell like 2-inch extensions and a connector. So I had to buy that, and they're just somewhere in a drawer so that I could connect the 2 bars, because the bars themselves, when the off-brand Q-snaps don't have the connection like on the pipe. It's like an extra piece that goes in it. But I will be more detailed about this in a separate video if you'd like to, so if you're interested, let me know. I might just do it eventually, but if you really want to know, I will talk more about it and kind of show you how I set this up. So yeah, that is Story Keep Rhapsody by Heaven and Earth. And I have not worked on that since, but that's how far I got in February. I think I did all this stitching in February. I'm almost certain this challenge started end of January. So yeah. All right, I will join you momentarily because my dogs really need to go outside. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the next thing that I worked on, I have 2 things actually, and it's actually 2 finishes. They're pretty little, but that's okay. I finished this. This is a freebie that was on a Dutch blog. I did this for the Valentine's Day sale for Cross Stitch and Discuss. And I believe I finished this on February 13th, a day before Valentine's Day. And I'm not sure if I'm fairly certain I didn't show this because of the time I did the video. But so yeah, so I used a red variegated thread by DMC, which I don't have at the moment, but I could always let you know in a comment if you're curious. Only changes I made was there were supposed to be 3 hearts in here, and I just think it looked a little bit too crowded. I don't think it looked that way on the picture of the stitch up that was on the blog, but they did use just one color. I think that might be it. So there's that. So I am gonna try and do this into a little cushion ornament. That's the idea anyway, so we'll see when I get around to that. If not, it's no big deal. All right, so then I also finished this. I believe this is just called Butterfly, and it is by Busilla. And it is a little, it's supposed to have, it's like one of those fake hoop frames that has like a thing at the top, but I don't particularly like that. So I usually just cut it off with an X-Acto knife, and it just looks like it's a little frame. And there it is. I started this forever ago, and it just kind of sat on a shelf that I had, and I'm like, I'm just gonna finish it. So I did. Hey guys, sorry if that cut off kind of weird. My SIM card was full, which I did not expect. But I am back now, and I will continue. So the last thing, was it the last thing? I'm pretty sure it was the last thing I worked on in February, or the last thing that I worked on that I haven't shown you yet, is my Magical Creatures calendar. This is the piece as a whole. It is on a 32 count Miss Lugana in Mystic by Silk Weavers. I have not cut it because I'm waiting to finish the border for that. So yeah, let me fold it up so it's a little bit better to see. So you've already seen the January block, which is the Centaur, and February's is Frog Prince. So hopefully you can see there, the cauldron is shiny. I used a Snow Karen collection floss. I also used Krennic on the potion bottles. It's actually number 8 braid, but I just had it. It was on sale at Hobby Lobby for like ridiculously good price, so I had to use it. I had to get it, and I figured that'd be a good spot to use it. I do prefer the number 4 braid, but it was all right. I also didn't include the labels because sorry, that folded really weird, just because it was a little bit, I don't know, too much white, I thought. So I didn't really like that. And I kind of like the effect of the Krennic because it made it look like, you know, like a stained glass bottle. On the frog, I used just some greens I had left over from a kit somewhere. I have a bag of floss that I use that it's got like leftover kit floss. So I just pull it whenever I can. I did use a variegated DMC for the belly. It's like a yellow and green variegation, and I did it in a circle. For the crown, I did a mix of gold, like a shiny gold from a kit, and a goldenrod floss, just because it's, I thought it was a little too shiny already with the cauldron being shiny and the bottles being shiny, so I thought it had just enough sparkle, but not a ton. So that is Frog Prince. And I might as well show you my March. Let me refold this one more time because it's a lot of fabric hanging around here. As you can, you know, it is the beginning of May. I did not get to do April block, but I'm okay with that. I am actually going to start it during Mania. Yeah, it's too much. I had too much going on, and I just left it. It's a pretty small block, so it'll be okay. So this is March. This is the Phoenix, and I did do him in DMC satins, which, oh my word, were a pain. Huge pain to work with. But I really like how they look. So I will probably use the satins in the Dragon block, which I think is next month, and maybe somewhere over the bottom, just so it's a little evened out, because it is significantly shinier, which is why I chose it. I also did not do the cloud. I tried, it just did not look right on this fabric, so I decided to do extra flames instead. So I have a flame over here, and a flame in the middle there. I'm also fairly certain he's a little pudgier, because somehow I made this longer than it should be, so his belly goes out a little bit more, but that's okay. As you may notice, I don't really have any month names on here. I did have a January. I'd done a font that was created, I guess. It was a modification of a font that was created by one of the members of the Facebook group. We are doing this as a SAL together, even though it was not this year's Clouds Factory SAL. And they just said, you know, I'm not really partial to the font. I wasn't either. I really liked your font, but it was a little bit too thick. So I used some, like the general idea of it, but I made it more towards backstitch. Then I had a different idea for the names of the months, but I don't want to stitch them in and not be happy with it. So I'm going to wait till I get to the end of the project in December and then decide what I'm going to do with the months. I am pretty certain I'm going to include them. I don't want to leave them out. I just want to decide like what colors and how, like what kind of font. I'm thinking a backstitch font because I don't really like the names being super obvious. Which is funny because I'm considering stitching them in a metallic thread, but if it's just backstitch, I think it'll look better. So that's where I am with that. I do have to get the April block done this month. I will also try to do the May block this month and get caught up, but if not, I'm not overly stressed. I'll get caught up by June for sure. I'm pretty certain I will. So yeah. So that was really all I worked on in February, which is a decent amount, I think. I was trying to concentrate on just a few projects, which is why I felt I got the progress that I did on them. So I am happy with that. In March, I was ready to work on quite a few projects, and then our fellow Flosstuber mentioned the idea of mostly monogamous March, where you pick one piece and that was your main piece. She did say mostly monogamous, mainly because of cells. So I was thinking, oh, the magical creatures, which I did work on, and then I was going to start some other cells that I was behind on, so I would have that, plus other not necessarily monthly sales, but sales that like I'd been part of that I wanted to get some progress on. I decided not to do that. I actually ended up working on pretty much one project except for the magical creatures, and that was a Yoda that I've been planning on stitching on for my husband forever. It was in my very first whip video, and I mentioned how I started this maybe like a week after I started stitching, thinking, oh yeah, as soon as I get home from work, I will just work on this and it will be finished. And he was away that week, so it would be perfect because he got back like right for his birthday. I would have it done. Yeah, I was a noob, obviously. I had no idea how long a project really does take. I got nowhere near done. It kind of has 9 pages, but they are done really weirdly. This is a very old Etsy pattern that's actually no longer available, so I don't really have the picture, but it's basically Yoda up to about his torso. He's leaning sideways and he's holding his lightsaber like this. So that's essentially what you see. So I went out, dug for the project, got it out, realized the X's were going everywhere. I clearly was not stitching in the same direction. It was terrible. It looked awful. I tried frogging it. I was starting to mess up the fabric. It was just too many stitches. I just restarted it. I started it on 18 count. I had it on 16 count before, so it's actually going to be a little bit smaller, but I don't mind. I'm okay with that. And I decided to use the DMC Magic Eye because I just didn't want to grid all that again. And that one I definitely wanted to grid. I'm fairly certain I'm going to grid all my full coverage pieces. So that was also the first time I gridded, and that took ridiculously long, and I just wanted to start it, so I used this instead. So this is where I am now, and that's a ton of progress. This is basically a month worth of progress because I had to start from scratch. So you can see the top half of the lightsaber, you can see Yoda's ear. There's a lot of brown background, and this is the curve of the top of his head. So the project is probably going to go down to about here. Not 100% sure on that, but it's something around that. It's actually a perfect square. So I kind of folded. This was, again, I had just started. This was the first pattern I bought that had multiple pages. So when I printed it out, I was like, okay, I don't understand how this works. So aren't you supposed to have a whole pattern? I taped the pattern together, so I have this giant piece of paper. Thankfully it's not 9 full pages, it's really 6 pages and then 3 like tiny edges over here that make the last few columns. So I folded it up to have 6 pages. Like I had this huge taped up thing and then I refolded it, but it's not even. So like the first 2 pages are going to be huge. It's like this one, and then the rest of the pages are pretty tiny, just the way I ended up folding the fabric. So I think once I get the top 2 pages done, it'll go fairly fast. I'm really happy with this progress. I really need to get back on this probably after Mania starts, because I am really, really happy with how it's coming out. So yeah. Because it's a really kind of unknown pattern, I was a little bit nervous because I haven't seen a finished product of it. So far I'm happy with how it's come out, and I think it'll continue to do well. And as you can kind of tell, I'm kind of working a color at a time to a certain spot. So yeah, so that was pretty much all of March right there. April I didn't really do much either. I started a project, and I started 2 projects, and I've been working on them exclusively, and that's basically it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you those projects. The first one is for the second Heaven and Earth Designs Challenge. It is extreme cross country. As you can tell from a few different projects that I've shown, it is common for me. Sorry, I got kind of put off because my phone made a noise. Ugh. So as you can see from the projects that I have shown, I do a lot of cross country, or as I tend to call it, just one color at a time. I didn't realize it had a name, cross country. But this is extreme. You're supposed to finish an entire page one color at a time, which is a lot. The project I chose is called Sunrise. It's actually Mini Sunrise because it is a mini. It is by Rachel Anderson, and I'll insert a picture of that here. And since it is a new start, I just have my progress to show you. So this is a pewter 25 count even weave, and that's it so far. So that's the top of the sky, and all that shiny is my gridding, so you can kind of see where the page ends up. Okay, so yeah, I have about half of it done, but only with the first color. I decided to go with this color because it encompasses most of the page, but then like the rest of it has a ton of colors, and maybe just a few. Some colors there's like one stitch, just because right over here you start to get into her head and her wing. I think not even her head, maybe a little bit of her hair and her wing, and there's just a ton of colors in that. So I really want to finish the challenge. I have till June 13th, I think it is, and I think once I get this color done, it'll go fairly fast. I'm getting a little bit bored. I like one color at a time or cross country, but not to this extreme. It's just too much. I'd probably do maybe a row or maybe a couple lengths of it and then go into the other colors. I don't think I've messed up too much, which is pretty decent. I think I messed up once, but it's just like another really similar color, because it's when this dark sky starts going into the bluer gray. That's like a purple gray. So yeah, at first I was kind of like iffy about how it looked on the fabric, but I think it's going to look really nice. I am hunting for another one of these fabrics because she has a sister, Sunset, and I want to do both of them. So I want them on the same fabric, and I thought I ordered it on Amazon, and the seller kindly emailed me and said like they automatically changed her picture. The one she has is the same fabric, but it wasn't the pewter color. I think Amazon automatically put the picture that she had on there, and so I'm gonna have to order another one. She offered for me to return it, but I'm like, I'll use it for something. It's a 25 count even weave, so I'll use it on a Heaven and Earth. And she ended up refunding me $2 just to kind of say sorry. So that was really sweet. She didn't need to do that. So I'm really happy about that. And the last thing I worked on was my start. This is for my cousin. I saw this. There's I think 2 or 3 people stitching it on Stitch Mania, unless I'm the 3rd person and there's 2 other people. I saw this and it's perfect. You guys, this is like the exact theme of her nursery. It's yellow and gray with elephants. And here is the sampler that somebody posted, and I'm like, I've got to. So I ordered, this is in a Cross Stitcher magazine, issue 292. It's the June 2015 issue. It looks like this. And again, here's the sampler. It says Stitched with Love up here, but I'm not sure if that's the name of the sampler. It's by Emma Congdon. And it's just cute elephants. I know the green doesn't really match. Her colors are strictly yellow and gray, but I think it'll offer a nice contrast. And I, so far, have parent elephant. I don't want to say mama or papa elephant because it could be either. But I wish it had a mama and a papa. At least it's got the elephants going across the top there for like family. I had quite an ordeal with this. I went to start this and I wanted to get a like mix of a really light yellow fabric, like a hand dyed. Went on Picture This Plus, ordered it, got it later than I thought, and it was way too dark. It was just way too dark. So I just decided to do it on white as it's suggested. I think it's gonna look fine. I'd need to have this done by like the first week of June. Her baby was born already. She was born in April, but she doesn't live where I live, and my mom is traveling there right at the beginning of June, so I want to have it done so I can send it with her. I also had to rechart. I can't use the font because they chose a, it's not so much the name itself, though the name is pretty long, but her last name, I know it's not used too much in the US, but in other places you use both the father and the mother's last name. So her last name is pretty long, so I had to use a font that was a little bit smaller, so I had to rechart that. And my other issue was she wanted to keep, or her and her husband wanted to keep the name of the baby a surprise till he was born, so I didn't even know it. Granted, I could have stitched and then just left the name for last, but I didn't have my fabric because I was waiting for this hand-dyed, imagining it'd be perfect, and it was just too dark. Like the yellows would just blend right in with the hand-dyed. So there's that. I also bought a scroll frame. This is just a cheapo one from Joann's. It's worked all right for me. I know some people really don't like them. I like it so far. I think eventually I might get like a Millennium frame, or what's the other, Ombre or something like that, where they're really nice scroll frames. But for now this works, and I've got my Q-snaps. I just wanted to try the idea. So that's where I am with that. And that is all the projects I have worked on. I am very quickly going to show you some purchases and then do a tag, and then I'll get into Mania in a different video. Last but not least, I have some purchases before I do the tag. I do have some fabrics that I'm going to use in Mania, so I'm just going to show those in Mania. But I wanted to show a couple things that I'm not using in Mania. So I went on a 1-week vacation, which was another reason that I wasn't stitching, and that was at the end of March. And I stopped by an L&S, and I got two fabrics. I got this Joblin. It's 28 count Stormy. I'm not sure who the dyer is, but here it is. Oh gosh, I know that's like here. There we go. I'm really excited. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna use this on the Haunted House by Clouds Factory, and it's just so pretty. I really like it. I'm not a big fan of Joblin, but I was just excited that they had tons of hand-dyed fabric. It was awesome. The second one I got was a 28 count, 32 count Belfast linen opal Bewitched by Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. So that was really nice. The lady that runs the store, I get the feeling from what I heard while I was there, her customers aren't always open to ordering online. So she orders online and stocks her store with some of the fabrics, and if they're ever not happy, she just has the fabric there and sells it to somebody else. So she had some Picture This Plus. She had some hand-dyed fabrics by Stephanie, not a ton, because I think those were mainly based off orders that customers made, and then she just ordered a big thing of it and then offered it to other customers and like cut it up or whatever. So that's this here. Woohoo! It's so beautiful. I'm so excited, and I'm pretty certain what I'm gonna stitch on it. I originally was thinking of stitching Stargazer, but I'm a little bit concerned it's gonna blend in. It looks semi-okay in the viewer, but I think it might blend in a little bit too much. So I'm going to stitch a Halloween fairy by fairy. I don't even know if it's a fairy, but just a Halloween lady. Sorry, I'm scooching over a little bit here, by Passione Ricamo. So I'm really excited. I will show you that when I get to it, but that is my plan for this gorgeous fabric. The next piece I have is actually a hand-dyed fabrics by Stephanie, but it was actually ordered by me. Funny story though, I felt so bad. She was so sweet. I accidentally ordered the wrong fabric. I ended up ordering Bewitched, which was right next to the fabric I wanted, which was Banshee. And I was so sure, I remember seeing it on the screen. So I must have had two windows open, and I clicked Banshee on one, but I ended up ordering the one through where I had, I guess, clicked Bewitched. But I remember even seeing the word Banshee as where I was ordering. So I don't know how I messed that up. I wrote her and I said, look, I think there was a mistake. I ordered Banshee. I remember seeing that I ordered Banshee, and I was actually wrong. I had ordered Bewitched. I must have done something wrong with my clicking, because I know I had it open on Banshee. I clicked on Banshee, and I don't know what happened. And I know of all the fabrics that, you know, I wouldn't have ordered Bewitched, because I already had a piece of Bewitched. Anyway, she was so kind. She returned, you know, she sent me a return envelope with the new fabric. So I returned it. I even wrote her a really sweet note and let her know, like, thank you so much for doing this. I hope I didn't come off like, you know, like, I know I ordered this fabric, because I really thought I had. And she was very kind to send me Banshee. So this is a 28, no, this is also a 32 count, sorry. And this is Banshee. And I know you can't see it too well, but you can kind of see it's kind of like a mottled grayish. It's got some yellow, it's got some blue, and it kind of looks like daylight colors. So I'm really happy with it. It's going to be for my Raven Queen. I finally decided on fabric for Raven Queen, so I'm very happy about that. Yeah. I really like it. I do really, really like it. It's funny because I'd already mentioned I'm not a big fan of Joblin, but at the point I ordered this, I didn't know that. For Valentine's Day, my husband said, okay, what do you want? And I said, I really want to try some hand-dyed fabric. So through what we decided was a good amount, I was able to order 3 different fabrics. I'm just showing you the Banshee now, because the other 2 I'm going to show you in my Stitch Mania video, because they will be used in my Stitch Mania plans, items, projects, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, the last thing I bought at that LNS were 2 week side works. I have Mermaid, and Confetti. So that wraps up whips and purchases. I'm going to do Adele's For Real Though tag, but this was longer than I thought, so I'm probably actually going to do that in a second video. I will be doing it, so I guess you're going to get quite a few videos from me today. You're going to get this one, you're going to get the For Real Though tag, and you're going to get my Mania plans. So hopefully these will upload today, May 1st, but if not, they should be up tomorrow, so that's still not too terrible. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for the people who have subscribed, for people who have continued to comment and watch, even though I've been gone 3 months, really. So, yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to get back into the swing of things now that crazy busy time is over for me, and get back into not just stitching, which of course I desperately want to do, but also recording, so that I could share with you guys, because I love sharing with you guys. I hope you are having a wonderful day, and yeah, I will see you. Oh my gosh, I just forgot something. I almost forgot something. I will not see you later. I'm going to see you right now. Hold on. This is the other thing that I was doing aside from reading and stitching. I started to crochet. So I have my first project, and it's actually done, which I was going to show you, and it wasn't done, but I've been gone so long I actually finished it. It's a scarf. It is just a single crochet stitch, because I figured I want to perfect the single. I sounded like I was purring. Burr, 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 burr. I wanted to perfect the single crochet, so I did that, and this is 2 skeins of the yarn that I decided to use. It is a brand from Hobby Lobby, and for the life of me, I don't have it. I will link the name down below. It's an acrylic brand. It was a softer one that I just felt them, and this felt softer. But yeah, so this is really exciting. I'm so excited to learn how to crochet. I want to learn to crochet and knit, but one of the reasons was my husband's aunt, or my aunt-in-law, who also cross stitches. I've mentioned her before. Her main thing is knitting, but she also does some crochet. So we were visiting a cousin, and she was also there, and she had a magazine of projects, and she was like having her granddaughters pick something out, and she was gonna make it for them. So I was kind of flipping through, and I'm like, oh, I like this, I like this, I like this. And she's like, wow, like most of those projects were crocheting. So I'm like, I guess I'm learning to crochet first. So I do have to weave in the ends. I actually only made a boo-boo and cut this way too short. I thought I was cutting, like I pulled it, and I thought I was cutting on this side, but I cut on this side, so I've got a tiny, tiny little end. But I think it'll be okay. I made sure it was nice and tight, so I gotta weave that in, and I gotta weave my first end in. So yeah, that is the scarf. Question for you knitters and crocheters or yarn workers. Can you guys help me out with this whole blocking thing? I've heard people mention it. I kind of have an idea what it is. It seems like it's kind of like washing the project, or like wetting the project, but stretching it out so that it maintains its shape and isn't so crinkly, I guess. But how do you do that? I mean, I don't understand, because from what I've seen, you have to stretch. This is huge. This is really long. Am I supposed to stretch this out like on a giant foam board or something and spray it? Can I just stick it in a tub of water? How do you block projects? Exactly what is it, and what is the benefit? And is it okay if I don't? Anyway, let me know. Also, I totally miscounted somehow with my first. So you can see how it's like, it shrinks. It's meant to be 30 stitches across, and somehow I started with something maybe 30, maybe more, and I went down. So in order to rectify that mistake, I just kind of tapered the other end. I added some stitches. It's not perfect, but it's a little more tapered. I think the messed up side actually looks nicer because it looks tapered. It's like tapered more evenly, but whatever, it's fine. I'm happy with it. So it's not very cold where I live, but whatever. Sometimes it's cold at work, so I can wear it at work or something. Yeah. All right, so now I am done. I thought I was gonna do the for real sew tag, but I will just do that in a separate video. And sorry, I thought I was gonna not cutting off my head anymore, but I gotta be a little bit more careful because if I lean in too much, I do. But again, thank you so much for watching, sticking around, commenting, subscribing, asking questions, because I haven't been around that much, and I really would like to be. I'm not very good at keeping a schedule, so I don't wanna like set up like, I really want to try to do once a month. I know that didn't work out the last couple months, but I really want to try and at least do once a month. I don't want to set myself up on a schedule and then mess up, but maybe I'll try every 2 weeks or something, because that way I'll have less to talk about. So maybe it won't take me that long to record it, and I actually won't feel like, oh my god, I have no time to record because it's going to be too long and I'm going to get cut off in the middle or something. So maybe I'll try to do it more often so that the videos are shorter and I can record them quicker. We'll see if that works, but I'll definitely try to be around a lot more just to get updates going. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Happy Stitch Mania, or Happy Mania to those who are doing it, and for those who are just watching us do it, awesome. Thank you for sticking around with us and watching crazy people start a bunch of projects. I will see you soon with my Adele's tag video and my Stitch Mania plans. I'll see you later, guys. Bye.